Alex and the List was released in 2018. This is directed by Harris Goldberg. It's written by Goldberg and Kristen D'Alessio, and we have including Jennifer Morrison, Patrick Fugit, Karen Gillan, and various others. And I wanted to watch this because it sounded quite interesting, and for the most part, it generally is. This will be spoiler free, but at the end I will give a spoiler warning because I want to discuss ultimately what happens with the film and also one point in particular, but I'll give a spoiler warning in due course. Alex is ready to propose to his girlfriend, Katherine, and she gives him a list of changes. If they want their relationship to work and move forward, he needs to change this, and this, and probably some more things as well. And he's hesitant. He doesn't jump in feet first, credit where it's due. But then he ultimately decides to go ahead with this. And the film is about him working through this list. And I had some concerns, but it was interesting. It was kind of fun in a way to kind of wonder what's going to pop up next on the list. But there was also this heaviness of knowing that he was changing himself just to keep this relationship. Is any relationship worth it? Worth changing who you are? Some of the changes, one could argue, were actually to better himself, not necessarily to just change who he is. So I feel like, in a way, it's a grey area. Should somebody change themselves for somebody else? But at the same time, in general, I'm against the idea of somebody just presenting somebody else a list and saying, here, go and change yourself. So I don't want to say I didn't love the concept. I think it makes a very interesting narrative topic. But in reality, the concept is something I don't agree with. But for the film, yeah, it was quite interesting to watch everything unfold. And I will talk a bit more about that in a moment. Alex is a very likable character. I absolutely wanted the best for him. I wanted whatever the outcome would be to be the right thing for him. And with regards to Katherine, well, I didn't like her from the very beginning because she was just being completely ridiculous and unreasonable. And I found it very difficult to like her as a character. As I said, there were some fun aspects to the film, some aspects that were maybe a little heavier. Visually, it's absolutely fine. I don't have any issues with any of the technical aspects. The performances were quite good. So, all things considered, Alex in the List is a decent experience. And I'd say it's certainly a thought-provoking film. And if it sounds like something that appeals to you, then I'd say it's worth watching. And I will now give some spoiler thoughts. So, everything else I have to say now are spoilers for things that happen in the film. And the first thing is don't ever get rid of your pet because it would benefit somebody else. Unless, for example, I don't know, maybe you're married to somebody and they have an immune response and they become allergic to the animal. That's maybe a different scenario. But if somebody hands you a list and that ultimately leads you to getting rid of that animal, please don't do it. Because that's just absolutely horrendous. I really could have done without that. But thankfully, as I said, these are spoilers, thankfully, he does manage to get the dog back. So it wasn't too horrendous, but that was never going to be a guarantee. So I could have done without that, but I'm pleased that it wasn't the end of his relationship with the dog. And then, of course, we have the end of the film. And I genuinely thought he was going to go through with it. I honestly thought he was going to marry her and keep all of these changes, and it would have given absolutely the wrong message. They really kept me on my toes right until near the very end, which is not a bad thing. That's not a criticism, and it was intense. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought Alex in the List was an interesting film, generally well executed, and one that I'm happy to recommend.